the recording to YouTube. All right, so if you need something to be repeated or clarification, of course you can always ask at the end of class, but then also know that this entire class is also going to be on YouTube. You'll just type in YouTube, you'll just type in my name, Barbara Breaud, spelled B-R-E-A-U-D, just type in my name, and not just the class for today, but also all the classes from all the way back to June will be there. So anyway, once again, wanted to welcome everybody out to class. And the topic of my class is the inspiration that I got from or for the class was gotten from the convention that's actually going on, and it's called Pursue, doTERRA Pursue, and how that they're always in the pursuit for what is pure. All right, so that was the inspiration for my class. And what we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about some sciencey stuff, just, you know, with the idea of purity and how to tell if things are pure. And then we're going to go ahead and oils. But the large bulk of this class is going to be talking about pursuing what's pure. All right. So I just love these graphics. I mean, when you think about purity, you automatically, you've got to think about nature. You know, you've got to think about the way that God gave us things initially, not before it was processed and all of that kind of stuff. That's where the purity gets broken down. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So our pursuit of purity. Now, everybody think about, just kind of put yourself in the mind frame that maybe you're going grocery shopping for your family, and you've got this mindset that you want good, pure, healthy foods, drinks. You want all of the most purest that you can find for your family. All right, and I think everybody's probably done that at different times. Especially most people that's on this call are very much into you know, being careful about what's put in their body, because literally, and as we said last week, you are what you eat, right? So the more pure the substance that we're putting into our body, the better results we're going to get. And so the pursuit of purity. So what I thought about it was, what is the definition of purity? And I like that first definition. Of course, the second one is, you know, is definitely relevant as well. But the first definition, freedom from adulteration or contamination. That is the textbook definition of purity. Now, what is adulteration and contamination? Okay, all it is that it's free from things that would pollute, that would taint. It's clean, it's clear. Right? So maybe you might hold up a glass of water and you know, you're looking for the clarity. If you see little things floating in there, you know, that would be of a concern. So that would be our dictionary definition of purity. Now I was thinking about when we think in our mind of pureness, you know, this is what I think of, like I was talking about with the glass of water. You're looking for something that's free from contaminants. If you saw, you know, black on the bottom of that glass of water, you would probably dump it out and you would seek for a better water source, right? And look at like the foods that we would eat. We know when what we're putting in our bodies is not pure. Usually it's going to be in a, you know, a cellophane bag or something like that. When it's pure, it's usually in its whole food form. In other words, you're going to get an avocado in its whole food form, not like, you know, avocado that's been processed and it's an avocado spread, or, you know, something in a, you know, in a jar somewhere that, you know, doesn't even need refrigeration, or tomatoes. When you can actually get that tomato and hold it and see it, that's in its purest form. The problem is, as people do, because, you know, we want convenience and we want it to be available all year round, and we all like that, sometimes things get processed. They can get canned. things like that. And so things are maybe not in its pure form, and it's because of what's been added in there. All right. Also talking about and thinking about the pure air. And, you know, this is where I was, you know, I was thinking about, you know, where I was raised in New York. And, you know, you want to talk about air that's, you know, far from pure, far from clean. You know, you just go to New York City and, you know, the Big Apple, it might be called the Big Apple, but apples don't grow in New York City. Of course, they grow in New York State, far away from the city. So these are things that we don't want to see, right? Like I was talking about the pollution in the big cities, right? Or the pesticides. Now, I'm going to say that these pesticides, this is a very common occurrence. That if somebody's telling you to stay away because of pesticides, but yet pick and eat what's there, we've got a problem now. We have a definite problem. So the effects of pesticides in foods, and I thought this was a real good graphic to, you know, just to show how exactly they, you know, they do this large scale farming and just, you know, they just throw a bunch of chemicals. The reason for putting the chemicals on there is I mean, it's good, right? They're trying to destroy the pests that are, you know, like bacteria or weeds or mold or insects, rodents. I don't know if any of you have, you know, ever had a garden, but I have. And, you know, you take all that work, the time, the expense to, you know, to plant the, you know, the whatever the vegetables that you might be having or the fruits, only to go out there and you see, you know, bugs have gotten into the leaves and they're all eaten up, and, you know, and certainly it's like, well, what do I do? Well, with the large scale farming, this is how they do it. And that's why oftentimes we're told to, you know, buy organic as much as possible. Because an organic field not only does not have the pesticides, but it literally cannot even be next to a field that uses pesticides. All right. So according to the EPA, pesticides can be harmful and has actually been shown to be harmful, not only to people, but also to animals. All right. So because of the fact that they kill living organisms, they can also have an effect on you. Why? Because we are a living organism. I was shocked actually to learn that I am so sorry. I was shocked to learn that there's actually more pesticides in our meats than there are in our vegetables. I did not know that. Not only are there pesticides, look at what else there are. Steroids, antibiotics, hormones. As a matter of fact, it says that 80% of all antibiotics sold in the United States is sold to farms. Now that is pretty shocking. I didn't know that either. I didn't know that that percentage of antibiotics is actually going into our food supply. I don't like taking antibiotics. I'll avoid it, you know, as much as I can. But as I'm eating antibiotics if I'm not careful with what I'm eating. And here are the scary 7 harmful ingredients that you will find in so much of your food. High fructose corn syrup, trans fats, artificial flavors, MSG, artificial colors, artificial sweeteners, and preservatives. Now, like I say, the topic of this class this morning is purity. And so all of these things that we're talking about actually taints the pureness of what we're putting into our bodies. Now, these different pesticides, well, what damage do they really cause? Well, learning issues such as ADHD, which is, attention deficit. And there's all kinds of learning behaviors that are directly linked to pesticides. There's nervous disorders. There's a weakened immune system. Now that one was really interesting. I didn't know that. A weakened immune system. If there's a system in your body that you want to protect, your immune system is definitely that one. we're going to talk a little bit more about some ways that we can boost our immune system. But here's another one, breast cancer. You know, we see an increase in breast cancer, you know, just amongst women. Well, let's try to see where it's coming from. All righty. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so here's my shot. Now, this is not New York City. It's probably Hong Kong or something, because I couldn't necessarily read, I couldn't read the writing, so it's got to be some Asian city, you know, maybe a large one like Singapore or Hong Kong or something, Beijing. But just look at this picture. I mean, and consider that all of these poor people that are living in these places, they have no choice but to breathe this air. And that is really scary. What we're getting in, because when you breathe something in, it doesn't just go into your lungs and back out. Whatever goes into your lungs is absorbed through the thin capillaries and is actually brought into your systemic blood supply, and it goes from head to toe. And so whatever it is that we're breathing, whatever it is that we're eating, literally becomes who we are. And I'm not talking about mentally, I'm talking about physically, right? Our skin, our hair, our nails, our teeth, what our digestive system, what we breathe in, what we ingest, it becomes, because it goes into all of our cells. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. All right, so how does air pollution affect our health? And so I thought that this was pretty interesting, how many bodily functions can be harmed just by air pollution. All right, so of course we know respiratory diseases, right? That's pretty much a given, right? But what about the cardiovascular and nervous system damage? Now, oftentimes when you've got damage to your cardiovascular, it's irreparable. Irreparable. Nervous system damage, again, irreparable. Now I'm not saying that we can't be proactive, remove ourselves from different environments and different things, but some of the damage that's done is irreparable. How about fatigue, headaches, and anxiety? How many people that I hear that literally deal with just those three things right there? They're always tired, they get a lot of headaches, and they're always anxious, they're stressed out. How about the irritation of the eyes, irritation of the nose, irritation of the throat, damage to reproductive organs? Very interesting. I know a lot of people these days that have issues when they're pregnant. Issues of not being able to get pregnant. And you just wonder, what's the underlying reason for all these things? Harm to the liver. Why? Because literally the liver is your detox organ. The liver has to take out all of the toxins that's in your body. It's one of them. Every bit of blood is going through your liver, and your liver is capturing all. That's why like alcoholism and people who do drugs, oftentimes you can tell by their liver. That's why, like, if somebody gets cirrhosis of the liver, that's an alcoholic problem, right? It's because all of the alcohol, all of the drugs, it has to be processed through that liver, and you really put a lot of stress and strain on your liver when you're ingesting toxic and harmful substances. So air pollution, like I was telling you, how that these things can be irreversible. Air pollution can damage a child's brain forever. That's a pretty scary statistic. So what do we do? What do we do? And so I was just thinking, as I found this beautiful picture, I was thinking, so what do we do? What do we do with the world that we live in? Can we just go and live on an island somewhere out in the blue? But we can fight back. We might not be able to live but we still can fight back. We can fight back against things that are not pure or clean or good for our bodies. We can educate ourselves on ingredients, right? We could seek for good water sources, okay? In other words, and here's a perfect example. I just moved a couple of months ago, and I moved into a different county. And the county that I was in, you know, I didn't necessarily mind the tap water. I still used a Brita filter, but I didn't necessarily mind the tap water. Well, when I moved into a different county, all of a sudden the water just tasted, it just didn't taste good, even in the Brita filter. And so I tested it. I bought one of those little, you know, testers, and I did the, you know, the little test. Anybody who's interested in watching that, I did video it. But anyway, I tested it, and what I found was there were quite a few particles that were in that water. And so I just thought, you know, I'm just going to keep on, you know, buying my water. And I know that there's a lot of controversy with that. But the point being is when I tested the water that I could have been drinking, and then the water that I am drinking currently, what I'm drinking now is safer according to you know, my testing mechanism. So that's what we do. We just seek for what's, you know, what's the best. And then also we protect our children from air pollution. So my dad, he was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. And when he got married and started having children, he began moving away from the city. And so they moved in, you know, across the river into Hackensack and, you know, Harrington Park. I think that might have been where my brothers were born. And then I was born in Monroe, which is just a little bit further north of that. And so we were just, you know, moving slowly away from, you know, just the stuff that, you know, that's in the city, not only the crime, but also just everything, just, you know, the life of a big city with the pollution and just everything else. So I was thinking that, you know, we pursue something better. We pursue something more pure. And so that's the topic, is we pursue purity. So I want to start getting into how this ties into the essential oils. One thing that I understand is that it takes a lot of strength actually to pursue what's pure, because it's easier to just accept any old thing. It's not easy what doTERRA does. We're going to talk a little bit about the great lengths that doTERRA goes through to make sure that they have got the purest, most potent oils on the planet. So, like I say, topic, pursue. Now, with essential oils, there's a lot of controversy with essential oils. So we want to talk a little bit about, you know, some of the truths, some of the facts, some of the misconceptions. So the purity of an essential oil is closely related to its composition. It includes the absence of any unwanted and potentially even toxic substances. Now, those substances are things like fillers, additives, or other impurities. An essential oil adulteration means a serious issue. I'm sorry, it remains a serious issue. There's so many essential oil companies out there, but it's important to educate ourselves about what purity actually entails, how it can be tested, and the pervasive myths surrounding this intricate subject. So we're going to talk about this for just a bit. Please excuse me, I'm going to get a little sciencey for just a few minutes, but I find it necessary in order to, you know, to properly educate on this topic. So, essential oils have sometimes been adulterated by unscrupulous businesses. This can involve adding vegetable oils, synthetic extenders, or even using false labeling claims in order to maximize on products. Now, you see oils everywhere. In the gas stations, in the grocery stores, they're just everywhere. And who's to say which one is better than the other, right? You might find a bottle of frankincense, you know, with this one company for $80 and a bottle of frankincense with another company for $20. So it's like, we think, okay, $80 versus $20, well, what do? Oftentimes, we choose what's cheapest, right? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. There's a reason why there is such a varying difference in the costs of certain essential oils. So basically, you know, what I say is that if you're going to use something, you want to at least use something that's effective, right? We're not just, you know, automatically going to go what's cheap. Sure, we want the, you know, the best price that we can get. But the reason that we're purchasing something is because we feel a need. So we want to talk about this for just a few minutes. So adulteration, it is very difficult to spot. It can sometimes even trick the most experienced nose. So the only way of reliably gauging the purity of an essential oil is by a professional testing, and that is the GCMS. Now, you know, I definitely learned quite a bit during this, during putting together this, this PowerPoint. So just bear with me for just a minute. Once you learn to trust an essential oil company, that's a very, very critical factor, because, you know, the presence of a purity statement, the transparency of testing, and an enduringly positive reputation amongst other factors can provide you with that peace of mind with regards to the purity and the safety, right? So in other words, when you find something that's you know, that's working well for you, oftentimes you find that brand loyalty is there. And we see that in so many things. There's brand loyalty to cell phones, right? There's brand loyalty to certain vehicles. There's brand loyalty to certain computers. There's brand loyalty to a lot of different things in life. And there's reasons behind that. It's usually because they have met or exceeded our expectations. All right, told you I was going to get a little sciencey here. Now this is gingerol. This is the chemical compound, and so you want to ask yourself, the GCMS results, what they tell you is how your essential oils work to help your body. There are certain chemicals that react with your brain, with your endocrine system, and other body systems. And then there's a graph that tells you which chemicals are actually in that bottle. That is super helpful. So if a plant is supposed to have a high percentage of limonene, all right, but the results don't show it, that's a clue that your orange or your lemon oil may not be of the highest quality. In other words, you want what's going to work, right? You want to know what's in that bottle. Not only do they use the GCMS testing, but they also go through what's called a CPTG, which is just a certification. It's a very high standard that doTERRA places on their products. It goes through 8 different tests, each ran during distillation, production, packaging, and all of those tests are there to certify that there is nothing added to that bottle whatsoever. There's no fillers, there's no synthetic ingredients, there's no harmful contaminants, there is nothing that would reduce their efficacy and their potency. So basically what that CPTG label that has been created by doTERRA essential oils is the standard for the highest quality on the market. So it's more than just pure. It's more than just organic, because people ask, you know, well, are the oils, are doTERRA's oils organic? 100% they are, because in organic, as we just spoke, in organic products, what we find is oftentimes things that are not, they're not pure. Why? Because they've got pesticides. All right, so for an oil to actually be certified, to have that CPTG label, which every single bottle of essential oil from doTERRA has that CPTG label on it. In order for it to be given that label, they must be pure and natural, carefully extracted, just like I say, with no fillers, artificial things, dilution, or anything like that, free of contaminants, pesticides, chemicals. They're cross-tested with that mass spectrometry, which that's your GCMS, gas chromatology to ensure the purity and the composition potency. And this is what I think is beautiful. is that they're sourced by a global network. All right. They don't just, throw seeds out in the field any old place. Right. We all know that if we want the best oranges, where are you going to go? You're certainly not going to go and look for them in New York, are you? If you want the best oranges, you're going to go either to Florida or California. Those are the places where we get our best oranges here in the United States. Well, the same token, that if you want the best ylang ylang oil or vetiver oil or lavender oil, there's going to be certain places on the planet that you're going to go, such as Madagascar if you want ylang ylang oil. If you're looking for a good source of vetiver, which is an unbelievable good, it's a wonderful oil for helping people to sleep. Vetiver, well, if you want vetiver, where are you going to go? You're going to go where it's grown in its natural environment, which of course, one of those places is Haiti. So we're looking not just for, where these plants might grow, but where they're going to grow the best. Because I guarantee you, if I put an orange seed in the ground up in New York, I might get it to give a little sprout. But am I going to get what they get in Florida? No, because there are certain growing conditions that Florida has that New York does not. So very, very important. And that's all part of the, the total picture with doTERRA. So I thought that these were absolutely beautiful. And in particular, clove was discussed during the convention. So I thought it was a very interesting graphic to use. So here we've got clove, and this is not just clove, it's clove bud. Very, very important, okay? It's not clove stem, it's not clove leaf, it's clove bud. The properties of clove bud have things that the stems and the leaves do not have. So if you want to get the most from your clove oil, you're going to go for clove bud, all right? And that's what doTERRA does. And that's why I say they don't play games with the distillation, trying to get more, more from the process and, and passing off things that are maybe not as effective as they could be. If you want a bottle of rosemary, you want only a bottle of rosemary. Not a few drops of rosemary and a bunch of fractionated coconut oil or vegetable oil. No, you want just rosemary. And if you want to blend it and if you want to dilute it, that's fine. And that's what doTERRA does. They don't play. If you're asking for rosemary, they give you rosemary and only rosemary. So again, the adulteration process, many oils, they're adulterated, they're extended with the use of synthetic chemicals. And scents very, very well and very easily can actually be engineered in the laboratory. All right. So what we want is we want the scent from the plant, not something that's just been synthetically created in the laboratory. And that's what happens with a lot of the oils on the market, which is the reason why the prices can be so much lower than if you're getting the real deal. All right, I want to talk just a little bit about the case for ingestion. All right, so is ingesting essential oil safe? Well, I always say, look at that beautiful lemon there. I love lemons. Can you eat a lemon? Absolutely, it's a food. So why would you buy a lemon oil that says not for internal use? It's just a question to think about. Taking essential oils internally may be a very effective method to get the oils to be absorbed into the body to promote health and wellness for an overall soothing effect of the body and for a calming effect on mood. I drink lemon oil all day long. Every time I fill up my water cup, I put in a drop or two of lemon oil. Why? Very good for antioxidant, very good for prevention of kidney stones, gallstones, It's a it's also very good for prevention of, the prevention of certain infections. It's got a very high acid content, and so it actually wards off bacterial infection. Love this graphic. Dropping a lemon, you would have no problem putting a wedge of lemon in your water, right? You should have no problem putting a drop of lemon essential oil in your glass. There should be no problem with that. Why is it that there are so many oils out there, but there are so very few that actually tell you to take them internally? So how do you decide which oil out of all of the oil companies that's out there? Well, I'll show you. There's many ways that you can check the quality of essential oils. But one way that you can tell is by the price. When you compare essential oils and you see one that's very, very expensive, like I was telling you about the frankincense, one very expensive, one very, very cheap, there's a problem. There is definitely a problem, because there's no way that this oil company could ever expect to sell their frankincense at $80 when they've got a competitor selling their frankincense at $20 if they were the same thing, right? That would be like, the BMW, comparing with the Kia. I mean, there's no comparison, right? The reason that BMW is able to sell as many cars as it does is because there is a quality factor to that particular vehicle. The Kia is very cheap, and a lot of people buy the Kia. But when you compare the quality of the vehicles with all the, the different accessories and the different things, the engine, the quality, you can't compare. The BMW is superior. And so obviously there's a difference in price tag. And the reason that BMW doesn't lower their price to come down to their competitor is because what they're selling is worth what the price is. Okay? So it's just, something to just be aware of. So I just wanted to show this picture just to show that the ingredients, when you look at the ingredients of this particular oil, boy, it sure sounds good. Until you come to this little corner down here on the left where I highlighted, and it says that it is not for internal use. Now that's very, very curious to me as to why you couldn't internalize lemon oil or cinnamon bark oil. I mean, we cook with cinnamon all the time. Clove, we cook with clove. Rosemary. So why is it that it says not for internal use? When you've got a very similar oil constitution, wild orange, clove, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus, rosemary, and doTERRA says to take it internally, if you see where I highlighted. So we definitely have some problems here. And the problem is adulteration. So I'm really hoping, I hope I'm not exhausting this to the point where everybody is totally bored, but this was where my mind was going in this particular class. And so I wanted to make sure that, I did it some due diligence. So, of course, here's the composition of doTERRA. doTERRA On Guard Essential Oil is an extraordinary oil. It protects, if you diffuse doTERRA, it literally kills the viruses, the germs that's floating in the air. It is a wonderful essential oil, not to mention it smells awesome. You can take it internally. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful oil. And I use it very, very often. Now, this is a review. Not all essential oils are created equal, right? And that's a very important thing to understand, is that not all essential oils are equal. So this particular PhD doctor, associate director at Johns Hopkins, she said, when I started on this journey, because me not knowing anything about essential oils, went and just bought some essential oil off the shelf. Guess what? Some of them didn't work. I did the same exact thing. I bought oils from Walmart thinking, well, it says frankincense, right? It says lemon. So she says, my mother said, well, what about doTERRA? Try doTERRA. And she said, can I just mention that quality matters? And the quality control of this company is why I have decided to work with these doTERRA oils, because batch to batch reproducibility is phenomenal. Now, this is an associate director of medical microbacteriology at Johns Hopkins, which actually uses doTERRA's oils in their hospital for many of their research projects. All right, CPTG Essential Oils versus over-the-counter drugs. Now, this is quite a slide. If anybody wants to take a snapshot on this, you're welcome to. Look at your choices. So when you run for Tylenol or Aleve or sleeping pills, hey, maybe you can try a bottle of lavender. Before you go run for throat lozenges or ear drops or Dayquil or NyQuil, maybe Melaleuca might work. How about DigestZen instead of Pepto-Bismol or Tums? Anything stomach related, DigestZen. You can take it internally, you could rub it on your stomach, and boy does it work. How about lemon instead of a children's Tylenol or Imodium AD or Pepto-Bismol? Lemon is an awesome oil. And Breathe, a lot of people put Breathe in their CPAP machine. But what about Breathe instead of Vicks or NyQuil or those terrible inhalers that we know is so very bad? How about Deep Blue instead of Bengay? You know that you're getting some real good, very, very potent pain reliever right there. Oregano, few drops on your feet every night, just like that old adage, you know, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, I say a couple drops of oregano on your feet will keep the doctor away. Peppermint, a lot of people use peppermint instead of Tylenol for headaches. A little bit, some people need to have it diluted, just a little drop on each temple. And there are so many other oils that we can talk about when it comes to the wonderful benefits. Okay, so we just wanted to talk just a little bit about the safety of the oils. So they can be applied topically, aromatically, and many can be used internally. Diffusing is an absolutely wonderful way to get these essential oils very quickly into your body. So for anxiety, you could diffuse lavender and frankincense, or you could just put a drop on your hands and rub your hands and take some deep inhalations, or you could put a drop on your thumb and apply it directly to the roof of your mouth. The direct link between the olfactory bulb that's right there behind your nose, it's part of your olfaction, or you sense a smell, literally directly goes right into the brain. And so it's a very, very quick way to introduce these oils into your neurological system. So we also have depression. Oils for depression: orange, geranium, ylang ylang, migraines, peppermint, marjoram, lavender, cold and flu. Some wonderful oils are lemon, tea tree, and eucalyptus. At the very first sign of getting sick, I put a couple drops of lemon and tea tree on my hands. Tea tree and Melaleuca is the same, by the way. Rub it together, and I get it all over my throat. And I do it a couple times a day, and it knocks whatever it was that was setting up shop in my throat, knocks it out. Insomnia, how about lavender and vetiver, as you heard me talk about earlier about vetiver. Addiction, we're talking about cigarettes, we're talking about alcohol, we're talking about drugs. Grapefruit, black pepper, very, very good for addiction. Skin problems, this is what I use all the time. 54 years old, and I got skin like a 15-year-old. What about lavender, frankincense, sandalwood? I use a blend on my face. Muscle pain, peppermint, lavender, frankincense. And what about fatigue? If you're going on a long driving trip, take a bottle of orange, take a bottle of peppermint with you, put it in the car. Whenever you feel tired, you just wave that bottle under your nose and it wakes you up. Let me tell you, it wakes you up. Peppermint will wake anybody up. So you never diffuse peppermint at night. If you want to go to sleep, that is. All right. This is just a slide that I thought would be very interesting to a lot of people. Is just the dilution. just showing the difference of what babies and what adults would take. So obviously, the older you are, the more that you're going to use. And so you just, two teaspoons or 10 ml of carrier oil, and you put 1 drop of oil. If your baby's having problems sleeping, you know, you can just squirt a little bit of carrier oil in your hand, 1 drop of lavender, rub it on their back, rub it on their feet, and it's very, very helpful. Even just a drop of lavender, even on the pillow at night. I thought this would be very interesting, something that you could take a snapshot of. I have used substitutions all the time. I try to have all the oils on hand, but there are many times where I've had to substitute. And so here is a great substitution list. If you don't have bergamot, you can use lemon, right? All the way down to vetiver. If you don't have vetiver, try spikenard. This is an awesome and a very new product that doTERRA has. It is an enteric coated peppermint. Very, very good for people with IBS. Studies are being done on this product. Studies have been done on this product, and the effects that were reported were very, very good. It's an enteric coated peppermint. So it resists the acids that's in the stomach to go into the small intestines where it does its magic. How fast do oils work? I thought this was a really cute slide. So in 22 seconds, the molecules that are in essential oils reach your brain. 22 seconds. In 2 minutes, they will be found in the bloodstream. And in 20 minutes, they will have affected every single cell in your body. Now, if you've ever studied human anatomy and physiology, it is an unbelievably marvelous subject to study. And one of the most amazing things was when we were going through the circulation, because I often wondered, how does the blood reach every single cell in your body? And boy, I'll tell you, that was very, very interesting, but it does. Through the capillary and the, you know, the exchange, the gas exchanges, and it's unbelievable how that all works in the body. In 20 minutes, the results of your essential oils will have affected every cell in your body. All right, if you all want to pull out your phones and take a snapshot of this, this is a sleepy time diffuser blend. I am always in search of new oils. Every night I open up my blend diary and I say, what do I want to diffuse tonight? And then during the day I say, what do I want to diffuse today? Like this a little bit prior to this class, I was like, what do I want to diffuse? I was kind of in a hurry to get something in my diffuser, and I was putting all these different citrus oils, and then I walked over to my box and I saw cheer, and I saw, oh, here we go. I'm just going to use some cheer today. So anyway, there's lots of blends that doTERRA has, but these are all some blends that are just absolutely awesome. Try them and see. How about some back to school diffuser blends? Rise and Shine, Smarty Pants, Homework Helper, Perfect Attendance. And then here were some Pursue diffuser. Now these are, you know, from the actual convention diffuser blends that I have yet to try, that I would like to try. And then here on the right are some diffuser blends as we look into the cooler days ahead. For those of you who are wholesale customers, excuse me, and would like to make the most of your enrollment, the Loyalty Rewards Program, otherwise known as the LRP program, is a very good program for you. I would like to talk to you more about it, but what doTERRA does is they reward you for your loyalty to the company. And I love getting free oils. And so this is a way to get free oils. For those of you who are not wholesale customers or wellness advocates, I would like to extend that invite for you to join the doTERRA family and start using these oils and getting some of the benefits that so many people around the world, there's over 8 million wellness advocates. This is a brand new kit. I purchased it. I'm happy to say I was one of the first people that purchased this kit. And I received a text, was I think 2 days ago or yesterday, that my kit is on the way. So I cannot wait to see all these new products. Now, here's some of the cool kits. If anybody is interested in starting with these oils, getting these oils into your life, there are some enrollment kits. This actually pays for your enrollment in doTERRA. And so you always get your oils at wholesale. Nobody wants to buy retail. All right, so these are some ways that you can actually get started with the essential oils. We want everybody to be able to get these oils into your life. Once you do, you will be thankful that you did. One more kit. This is a beautiful, beautiful kit. Why? Because it includes copaiba. It includes adaptive, which is good for anything neurological, depression, anxiety, ADHD, Parkinson's, you name it, right? Adaptive, copaiba, and balance. Those are 3 oils there that you will not be disappointed. It also gives you a beautiful diffuser and many other oils. Now this kit is a wonderful enrollment kit. So your enrollment is embedded in the price here. 15 ml bottles. Now a 15 ml bottle, just to give you an idea, it's about 250 drops, which when you think about an application is roughly about 3 drops. So just think how long 1 bottle of oil will last you. So this is the end of my slideshow. And just once again, just wanted to reiterate that what we want to do in life is we want to pursue what's pure. You want to pursue after it. That is the end of my slideshow. I am going to stop sharing. I am going to